Hello and welcome to my very first week in review video. I'm going to be talking about some of my favorite movies and maybe some of my least favorite movies that I've watched within the last week or so. As you can see, I'm not talking about a disc. I've just got Letterboxd pulled up on my tablet and I'm going to be going through my diary. So, I guess if today, the last movie I watched is on the 24th, we'll start at the 17th. I want to talk about Peter Proud though, so we'll start at the 16th. I watched this movie, The Reincarnation of Peter Proud, and I loved it. It's got middling reviews. It's got a Kino Lorber Blu-ray, but I thought this was really good. It was a very interesting take on the cycle of abuse as shown through the lens of reincarnation. Here's my review if you want to read it. It's on YouTube for free. Yeah, I enjoyed it quite a bit. It was one of my favorites this month. Watched The Werewolf of Washington, which I don't even remember much about at this point, but I remember thinking it was kind of fun. I watched Django again, which I've seen Django so many times, probably my 10th time at this point, and I started a new mission of watching every unofficial Django movie, official and unofficial sequels, which there are 70 of. So I figure if I watch 5 a month, including this month, for the next, until the end of next year, I will have them all done. And so I watched Shango as my first one. Clearly a mix between Shane and Django. But this was fine. One of the interesting things about this movie is that Shango is so bad at everything. Like, he's a terrible hero. He never succeeds in what he's trying to do. And so if you want to see a movie where the hero is just an absolute failure, watch Shango. I watched Thief. This is one of my favorite films. I talked about it recently as a Blu-ray, but this is a top 5 movie of all time for me. It's my favorite Michael Mann movie, which it's always kind of interesting when my favorite movie from a director is their first. But I love Michael Mann. I've seen all of his movies. My second favorite would probably be Heat, and then Manhunter, and then The Keep. And then I really like Miami Vice as well. Miami Vice might be more than The Keep. Once I get the Vinegar Syndrome Keep, I'm going to watch that in Miami Vice again, and I'm going to determine which one I like the best. But I enjoy his movies quite a bit, and this is the best one. If you want to see a really well-directed, written movie, great performances, great score, I highly recommend Thief. I watched Slaughter in San Francisco. This was a fun, early Bruceploitation movie. It's got Chuck Norris in it. Not much to say. It's got good action scenes. I was able to watch so many movies this week because I have a job that allows me to have stuff on as I'm working. And so I had Dr. X on, which was fine. It's not... Michael Curtiz would direct much better, obviously. I'm really excited for that Captain Blood Criterion for Blu-ray. And I need to see Mildred Pierce. When I get the James Cagney collection from Warner Archive, I'm excited to watch Angels with Dirty Faces. But yeah, I really need to see more from him. The ending is very good, though. I watched Scarface by Howard Hawks, and I enjoyed it quite a bit. I actually think I enjoyed this more than the De Palma remake, which is saying something because I am a very big De Palma fan. I love his stuff, but I love Howard Hawks as well, and this is just such a good gangster movie. It's so short and simple and communicates everything it needs to very effectively. And I think it's very good. I watched Tapeheads by Bill Fishman. And this was a pretty fun comedy from the 80s. If you like cult comedy sort of stuff, then you'll enjoy this movie. My main complaint is that it seems kind of manufactured to be a cult movie, you know? Like, it doesn't feel the most genuine at times, but I still found it very enjoyable, and it's on Tubi, so if you like Tim Robbins and John Cusack, you might as well give it a watch. I watched All That Money Can Buy, aka The Devil and Daniel Webster. I talked about the Blu-ray of this movie, but this really is one of my favorite movies I've ever seen. It's very rare that I watch a movie for the first time and I say that is one of the greatest movies ever made. But this definitely achieved that. Highly recommend the Criterion Blu-ray. If it weren't for Double Indemnity, I would say that this is the best movie of the 1940s. Maybe even the best black and white movie. But it's so, so good. But I've already talked about it, so I won't spend too much time on it. I watched Black Angel. I barely remember this movie. I gave it a 6 because I enjoyed it when I watched it, but I didn't think it was very significant, and turns out it's really not very significant because I don't remember it at all. It's part of the Criterion Channel noir playlist, and I'm trying to watch all of those, and so, yeah. Only Angels Have Wings. Now, again, another Howard Hawks movie. I mean, this is just very, very good melodrama, 1939. Oh, I thought this was from the 1940s. This is early on. It's got some really cool aerial photography, especially for the time. I imagine watching this in 1939 is how watching Top Gun Maverick must have felt, or must have felt like watching Top Gun Maverick today. Really, really good movie. I Married a Witch, very fun. Short, interesting premise, enjoyable, not much to say about it. They Live by Night, I enjoyed this quite a bit. I give this a 10. I love Nicholas Ray, and this might be my favorite movie from him, although In a Lonely Place gives it a run for its money. And so does Rebel Without a Cause, honestly. I love his stuff. But I've only seen those 3. I really need to see Johnny Guitar. Sorry, my cats are crashing about. I rewatched Hobgoblins with my fiance. I love this movie. It's obviously most people don't, It's got 1,700 2 out of 10s and 142 10 out of 10s. But I'm one of those 10 out of 10s. This is like a quintessential Vinegar Syndrome movie for me. And I love Vinegar Syndrome type movies. I like it better than Gremlins, honestly. He Walked by Night. Very effective noir. That reminds me, I think I skipped The Sniper, which I enjoyed quite a bit. Yeah, I did skip The Sniper. This is one of the most prescient movies I've ever seen. It's from 1952, but it's basically a mass shooter movie, dealing with the whole incel archetype. He hates women. He doesn't really associate with people, and he goes on a killing spree, killing women. And, I mean, Bogdanovich had to have seen this when making Targets. So if you like Targets, you should definitely watch this movie, and it's on Tubi. If you're looking for a underseen noir, I think only 6,700 people have seen this one, which is a good amount for some of these more obscure ones, but it's still not a whole lot. If you're looking for a good obscure noir to finish out the month with, I definitely recommend The Sniper. Where were we? No Room to Die. Very solid. I watched this for the Django project. I think it's called A Hanging for Django. Yeah. I mean, it's about as standard as spaghetti western plots get, but it's extremely well executed. It's got almost all the tropes in the genre. If you like spaghetti westerns, you will like this movie. It's not the greatest one ever made, but it's very, very entertaining. I watched The Thief of Baghdad, which I haven't seen a silent movie in a long time, but I enjoy them quite a bit. And I thought this was very fun. One thing I found interesting about it is how much, like, a modern film student or screenwriter would say that this movie wastes a lot of time. Like, it spends a lot of time doing kind of nothing other than being entertaining. There's no script economy, if you want to say that. But I think that's honestly its biggest strength, is that it's just lives in this fantastical world for so long, you know, that you really kind of get sucked into it. The drama is almost secondary to the sets and the acting. The best part of the movie is the first, like, 30, 45 minutes, where Douglas Fairbanks is just stealing stuff in Baghdad. It's very entertaining. I watched The King of Marvin Gardens. Very good Bob Raffleson, Jack Nicholson movie, 1972. It's kind of like Seinfeld, where nothing happens in the movie, but that's kind of the point, and that's what makes it interesting. I prefer Five Easy Pieces, which only watched The King of Marvin Gardens because it was in the same Criterion box set as Five Easy Pieces. And I talked about it on the show, and I figured I'd finally watch it. Stolen Kisses, I rewatched this because I got the Antoine Donnell set, for one, but also more importantly, we got engaged, and this movie's very important to me. It's my favorite romance movie, and so I made her watch that. And in turn, I rewatched The 400 Blows. Very, very good movie. I prefer Stolen Kisses, just as a personal preference. But, I like a lot of movies that came out of the French New Wave. I don't really like the French New Wave as, like, an aesthetic, you know? Like, I can appreciate a good Godard movie, but I kind of prefer pre-New Wave French filmmaking, and this feels a lot like pre-New Wave French filmmaking. I think it only really gets lumped in there because he was friends with Godard. I just like the neo-realist sort of straightforward, effective dramas more than I like the crazy, everything is going wrong, everything is strange sort of New Wave style. We saw Sisu, I think I'm saying that right, Road to Revenge in the theater. It was fun. I would change some things about this movie for sure. It was going for a grindhouse style action, like shoot 'em up type movie, and I think the direction was wrong for that style. It was a lot of shaky camera zooms and very slow editing, when, I mean, fans of grindhouse action movies know that they have very stable shots, you know, very clear shots, but very quick editing. You can plainly see what's going on, and it's cutting between things very fast. And I think it would have benefited from that. We rewatched Tremors, which is one of my favorite movies. I mean, this is one of the movies that made me love movies. This is the movie that made me love monster movies and horror movies when I was like 13 years old. I've seen it so many times. We watched the Arrow 4K limited edition, which I own. I bought it as soon as it came out. Just so fun. We watched Death Wish 3, which, again, this is a very good example of the sort of action I was talking about in terms of Road to Revenge. This is like one of my favorite sort of just classic B movies. It's not so micro budget that it's surreal. It's not so popular that it's kind of played to death like The Room or something. This is just very, very entertaining, low budget cinema. If you like absurd violence and bad acting, this is a great movie. And then finally, we watched Eyes Without a Face, which we watched because, again, I talked about it in my video, and then Lydia wanted to see it, and so we rewatched it, or I rewatched it, so you saw it for the first time. And I like this movie better every time I see it. I mean, it's just so stark. Again, that pre-New Wave French filmmaking where it's just very flatly laying out these things that are happening. It's very interesting and beautiful in a way. And also very creepy and effective. I mean, I forgot how just horrific some of the scenes in this movie are for being from 1960. I don't think I've seen anything else from the director. Yeah, he didn't really direct that much that people know about. His second most watched movie is 7.9K. Eyes Without a Face is 203K. So yeah, I'll have to see more from him. Very good. Let me find my month in review. These are all the movies I've watched for the first time this month, ranked. These top 4 are 10 out of 10s. I quite enjoyed Shelby Oaks. I know a lot of people didn't. Bullet in the Head is the last 9 out of 10. Marvin Gardens is the last 8 out of 10. Haunted Sea is 7. And then everything else is 6. So I've seen a lot of good stuff this month. And I will get back to you next week with the end of the month and the start of December. This has been a week in review. Thanks for watching, and goodbye.